Hey guys, this is another weekly training summary. I'm going to try and get more consistent with these, or start being consistent with these. A lot of people seem like they like the last one, so I can't promise I'll do this every week just because of how busy I get, but if I can, I will. So I wanted to show a few kind of quote-unquote warm-up sets here, just so you guys can see how I kind of work up. Now, I start with usually a plate for 10, and then like 210 for 7, and this is and then like 285 for 5, and then that was 360 for 3, and then I'll start doing singles after that. So this is 435. Training's been going well. Just to give you an idea of kind of the outline of how the week went. So the first week of my training block, back into things, I'm doing more reps, and this is Ben and I talked about this. It basically, we're trying to give myself some active rest. I've had a nagging groin. I don't want to say injury because it doesn't really hurt, but I can feel something's a little bit off. So we're trying to give that. Yeah, Paul standing in front of the camera again. Had to give him the noob treatment. So we're trying to, lift light enough to give it some active rest. This is my last heavy single here before I start 505. To give it some rest, but also, enough volume to make some progress. So it's actually, this week of training was the most volume I think I've ever done in a training block. So today I'm doing 4 sets of 6 and then a plus set at the end, so 5 sets. And Monday I did 455 for 3 sets of 10, and Wednesday I had done 490 for 4 sets of 8, and I really was happy with how well 490 for sets of 8 was moving. It was moving really well, although this first set of 6 here with 525, this is on Friday, I wasn't really happy with it. It didn't feel heavy, but as you can see, the bar path isn't straight, so it's coming forward, and then there it is right there going back. So part of that too is, this sounds weird, but Ben and Ryan Norris actually noticed this as well, and Paul did too. They're like, unless, they told me, unless you're near like maximal weight, they're like, you just don't lift it as well. If you look at like when I've tested and done 635 or 640 or 650, they've all been pretty clean reps. And obviously, here there's some fatigue factor that I'm dealing with, going for reps, but I just, most people, unless they've been around me, I get so much out of being psyched up for a kind of all-out set that, even though 525 for sets of 6 is, it's not easy, I know I can do it. And so that kind of demotivates me, I guess I would say. But I've learned how to kind of have to put that ego aside and get the volume in. So I felt a little bit better as I went on. My hamstrings weren't as tight as last week, which is good. Here I'm getting a little more hip drive. And actually, I think I told you guys about it. You can see I'm using a new lever there. That's from Iron Tanks, a company in Australia, who contacted me, and they noticed I've been shattering a bunch of levers. I had been through 3 levers from various different companies, and they said, we're trying to make something that you can use in training, and so far so good on this one. So it's only been a month, but that's longer than some of the other levers have lasted. So here's the plus set. Again, I was relatively happy with this. I think I could have moved it smoother, but as you can tell, my first, 3 reps here are already smoother than, first 3 reps in other sets. So I think I just need to be pissed off when I go to train pretty much all the time. But those of you who have done, all out maximal sets, these AMRAP sets take it out of you. I mean, it's oh, never mind. I spoke too soon. That wasn't the AMRAP set. So apparently I cannot count. So I believe this is the AMRAP set. These take it out of you. It's you know, when you train more frequently like I do, I'm squatting and deadlifting 3 times a week, bench pressing 4 times a week. You do recover faster. You kind of train your body to recover faster, but you definitely feel it. I always say I don't really get muscular soreness so much as like a deep bone ache. But overall, I'm feeling pretty good. Lower back feels really good. The only thing I'm really dealing with is the groin issue. That rep got a little ugly right there. But I was pretty happy that I was able to grind another one out here. And actually the bar moved pretty quickly. So here's one of Paul's sets. Paul had listed to do 365 for 6 sets of 4, which the most he'd ever done 365 was for a double. So he got his first one, and then on the second set he only got 3, and I think he could have had 4, but I think it was just Paul's so long. If he doesn't brace, he's like 6'4", I think. So if he doesn't brace really, really hard with abdominal wall, it just slows down. So one of the things he has to work on is getting used to it being kind of a grinder when it goes halfway up. And also on that second set, the bar rolled up his back and it got to like a high bar position that made it really difficult to finish. But he ended up getting another set after that, but didn't get his 6 sets. I think it was just too much of a jump for him because the week prior he had only done 350. And so, you know, it was just a little bit difficult for him to lock that out. Here I'm getting ready for bench press. I'm over here talking to Reggie and Josh Dudek. Some of you guys don't know them, but they're a couple of the guys I live with. Josh is actually doing a lot of programming now. Josh, it's kind of interesting to see the progression of coaching because, you know, I was coached originally by Dr. Joe Klimzetsky, Paul was coached by me, and then Paul coached Josh, and now Josh is coaching people. So it's pretty interesting how things have made a progression over time. I'm also using the Iron Tanks wrist straps here, which I really, really like them. They remind me a lot of like strangulators from APT. They also have the opposable thumb loop, which is really nice. I talked about earlier how I'm really trying to work on my arch. I feel like I did a pretty good job here. Did a pretty good job of pressing. I was using a bar that had different hash marks than the other bars because they were all taken up, and it was real whippy, and I just didn't like it. I was really kind of pissed off about that last rep. And then this is Saturday's workout. So that was Friday. Here's Saturday. We're going to work up to deadlifts to 565 for sets of 4 and then an AMRAP. So we did 4 sets of 4 and then an AMRAP, I believe. Paul and I, this is a different gym as you can tell. This is Powerhouse Downtown. Paul and I had been to the IFBB Tampa Pro pre-judging, and so this gym was just closer to where that was at, was at the Hyatt near the Causeway. And awesome show, by the way. Really enjoyed it. And a big thank you to Dan Solomon for helping me out with tickets. I was procrastinating as usual and wasn't able to get tickets, and Dan helped me out, so that was really nice. So I wanted to show you guys from a different angle. So the tights are on. You can tell we're getting serious now because the tights are on. So you guys can kind of see how I set up my deadlifts. And you can see from my arms and my back here how I apply tension to the bar before I start to press with my legs. So when I set up, I turn my feet out a little bit more than most people for sumo. I do that because it gets my knees out of the way of the bar path, and I'm really able to keep it close. So as you can tell here, I'm going to get down, take my grip. This bar is actually really slippery, which is why I didn't do a set with hook grip. But if you watch here, I apply tension first with my back. I pack my lats, and then I pull the bar up. A lot of people just yank the bar off the floor, and I used to do that. And what's going to happen when you just yank the bar without applying tension to it first is that tension is going to come out of your back, and it's actually going to cause you to separate your shins from the bar. And when you separate your shins from the bar, you're making a less efficient movement because now you have to apply more force to move the same weight a further distance because it's farther away from you. It's kind of like if you were holding a cup of coffee right next to you, it's easy. But if you hold it out at arm's length and then put it on the end of a 10-foot pole, it's much harder. So this is why I really try to apply a lot of tension to the bar with my back before I start. I believe this is the AMRAP set here. Oh, maybe not. That first one looked a little slow. So I really try to do that. A lot of people use the cue of arching their lower back. I keep my lower back neutral, but what you want to do is brace your abdominal wall. I breathe in very, very deep. This is the AMRAP set. I breathe in very, very deep and push my abdominal wall out against my belt. And that is what helps keep your spine neutral. Just arching your lower back is not going to help you that much if you don't brace your abdominal wall. So that's something I've really worked on over the past year. And probably why I've shattered some lever belts, I'm guessing, is because I'm applying a lot more force than most people. At least that's my guess. So as you can tell here, again, these are moving much faster than my other reps because I'm actually fired up because I'm going for an AMRAP. I was really pleased with this considering, it's different bar, bumper plates. I don't know if Powerhouse Downtown makes you use bumper plates, but I typically like to use them. Just if it's a new gym so they don't get mad at me for slamming weights. So here we're going for the last one right here for 13. I was really happy with how smooth this was. It wasn't fast, but very smooth to lock out, and got it finished. So using bumper plates, here's sets of Paul. Paul was doing sets with 435 for singles. Here's one of his. Bumper plates, a lot of people like them. I don't because the bar bounces all over the floor. And so I typically tend to have to readjust my foot position when I'm using bumper plates. You guys notice that Paul is doing probably a lot less volume than I am. Well, one of the benefits to sumo that I like about it is by keeping your back a little bit more upright, it's not as much not as taxing on the lower back as conventional, and I'm able to do more training volume with it. I always try to do the same training volume with conventional. I do on a sumo, it would suck. So here's some sets of 335 on bench for triples, and camera's going to come out of focus. But these were terrible. Me and Paul, we did not like this bench setup. The back of the bench was really slick. You can tell there's plastic on there. And I kept sliding and losing the tightness. You'll watch as I go further into the sets. I think there's less and less arch. So sets of 3 were not super fast and just got a little loose in certain places, but we got it done, and that's what matters. So the bar was also weird. I didn't like the bar. So yeah, I'm just complaining right now because I'm lying. But as Mike Zorno says, do your job. You don't like the equipment, it's not your favorite bench, whatever, do your freaking job. So that's always in the back of my head. I think I probably look pretty out of place at Powerhouse Downtown because it's a little bit more of a bro-y gym. So people weren't exactly admiring the tights, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. So did 6 sets of 3 here on bench. It was but whatever, we'll make it better next week. Guys, thank you for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. And until next time. Walk in, fuck shit up, walk out.